On today's show, we demonstrate how dreams show trauma. And Kim shares her dreams of angels. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hey, good morning and welcome, everybody. It could be good afternoon or good evening, but still, welcome. We're so excited you're here.
I love how Sandy's just gone multi-time zone. This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between you and the spirit world. If you want to know what you're meant to be doing in your life right now, then listen to this show and listen to your dreams. Because from your dreams, I'm able to tell you what you are meant to be doing, what your mission is, what the obstacles in your life are. And then here's the thing. The obstacles in your life are not always in the way. They frequently are the way. So to get your dream analyzed on our show, go to dream-analysis.com/podcast, fill in the form that's there. And an alternative is simply email radioshow@dream-analysis.com. That's all you have to do. We take it from there. And you will always get an answer to at least one of the dreams that you send into the show, because we have Nicole who answers every dream that gets there. So even the ones that don't make it to the radio station, to us, or aren't selected, I should say, you're still going to get an answer. All right. Sandy, anything to say?
Well, we got a fabulous healing course going on right now, and that's about it. I'm excited about what Nicole talks about today, and I'm really excited that she has joined this podcast with us, because it's really, I think, taking it to a next level. But let's go. You wanted to talk about our business trip, and I'm excited to talk about it too.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of our healing course, it started on last Thursday. We've increased capacity of that. We've doubled the capacity, and we've still maxed it out. So we were really happy with that. That we can help work with more people. That's just amazing for us. But this show is super awesome. Like, that, we know that. There's no great news there. But to be this awesome while remaining humble, of course, it takes effort and help.
And Sandy loves to help, let me tell you. I'll keep you humble there, love.
So Sandy and I regularly attend business coaching events in Montreal. That's where our business coach lives, and he won't move. And we were in Montreal last week brainstorming with other business leaders. And we always introduce what we do. And I said that we mainly help people heal from childhood trauma with the help of dream work. And when asked how dreams help, I said that even one dream is enough to reveal childhood trauma, that almost every single dream has the drama buried in it somewhere. And later that day, we were out for dinner, and a fellow participant, Mark, said, I have a dream that doesn't reveal trauma. Do you want to hear it? And of course, inside I'm going, challenge accepted. And this is the dream he shared. He said, I was to babysit a dog, or dog sit, my sister and her husband's dog. And I go into their house, and they wanted to remind me to give the dog a treat. And the dog was a Chihuahua. Chihuahua, something mixed, but a small little dog like that. And so to help me remember, they had put a piece of tape across the door with the treat stuck to it. And it was at head height so that I couldn't miss it. But of course, the dog, being the dog that it is, had already jumped up and got the treat. Now, the reality is that little dog, he said, wouldn't have been able to do that. And he goes, there you go. There's no trauma in that. And I said, oh, there is. The treat, to have a dream where you're reminded to treat yourself means that you do not treat yourself in reality. And I said, do you do that? Do you practice a life of delayed gratification? And he looked at me and he goes, yes, I do. I don't treat myself at all. And this is an owner of a company, right? With many people working for him. And it turns out he lives very, very frugally. And I said, well, you're living that life thinking that it's great discipline and you're doing something wonderful in the way you're showing how you can live a life, but it's done as a result of a trauma. What caused you to hold back, to not treat yourself, to not put yourself first, whatever way you want to put it? And he said, when I was younger, my sister caused chaos in the house, absolute chaos in the house all the time. And mom and dad were always dealing with her. And so I decided to become a goody two-shoes. And I Do you have that expression? That might not be what he said. I could be paraphrasing here, Sandy. But he said, I
No,
decided,
a goody two shoes is exactly right.
all right. And so he never looked for anything. And, but, you know, he was going to be the perfect person, and mom was going to notice this, you know, like, yeah, she's causing all the problems. And this was aimed at mom. The sister's causing all the problems, and I'm causing no problems in your life. And that's how it's going to be. And you're going to notice me because I'm not causing any problems. And he said, but it didn't really work. And he said, in my 40s, it finally blew up. Mom did something and I blew up at her. And he said, I never spoke to her again, never saw her again, didn't even go to her funeral. And the family were not happy with that. And I said, that's the trauma. And so the point is, it's a wonderful example of how, in his case, he's doing something that he started in childhood and he's carried it into adulthood. And he thinks he's quite happy to do that, but he's not. And so we had this conversation about, like, who would you be if you hadn't had that trauma? Because you wouldn't be a person who does not treat themselves. So you don't even know who you are at the age that you are now, because you're carrying the effects of that trauma and haven't cleared it. And that's the true for all of us. So if we look at our dreams, figure out what our trauma is, big T or little t, it doesn't matter, and then remove or heal the effects of it. Because this is how it works. We often look at somebody's negative traits and we say that's the trauma. So him delaying a gratification or being frugal when he's extremely well off, but him holding back and living on a meager allowance when he doesn't need to do that at all. It looks like, hey, this is choice. But it's done to get something else. In his case, it was done in childhood to get mom's love, to get mom's love. It didn't quite work, but it doesn't matter. We're a child when we decide these things. And so we're attempting to get mom's love. We're not getting it, but we keep it up. We try to do it harder. We do it harder, do it harder, do it harder. And eventually we'll get the love. And then we keep that up later on in life. And so you don't look at it and say, okay, I got to heal. I'm going to start spending on myself. That's not how you fix a trauma, because him not spending is the result of a different trauma. So what you need to do is go after and heal the main issue. And then the not spending, the not treating yourself will just evaporate on its own, because it's not the problem. It's a child's decision that is like, I'm not getting any attention, I'm not getting any love from mom because she's preoccupied with my sister all the time. If I do this, if I become such an angel, she will then love me for the fact that I've become such an angel. But that's not how it works, of course. She's so busy putting out the fires that his sister causes the whole time that she's not aware. But you heal the one thing and the other mechanism drops away all on its own. Whatever that is for you, it just drops away on its own. And I find that quite remarkable. But then the other thing we do, and the conversation continued on, is we turn our defensive mechanism into a superpower. And we've talked about this in many ways on the show. Like, if you're not loved and you keep people at a distance, you end up living life from the outside, up in your head, let's say, where you're looking and analyzing every situation in life. And eventually that turns you into becoming an amazing counselor, because you're able to look at everybody else's life from the outside and go, hey, let's see what's wrong here. What's going on? And you can see it. You're very quick at seeing it, whereas other people can't do that at all because they can't get out of the problem space. And so we always turn it into a superpower. So what Mark has done to turn his into a superpower is he goes into companies that are having serious accounting problems, where they're out of money and they have no idea what to do. And he's able to look at their books and do financial planning and say, if you hold off here and hold off here and hold off there, you're going to get yourself out of this mess. And he's amazing at helping people do that. And so, it's not that it's all bad. We become amazing at something because of the way we selectively work ourselves. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. And I was saying it to Sandy on the way back because Mark said, hey, share it with Sandy. That was something else. And so when I shared it with her, she said, you've got to do it on the show.
Yes, I absolutely love that dream. It is such a short, one-line dream. And I love the fact that it's his sister and her husband in the dream, because it was her sister that caused all the chaos in the house. And that's what he felt was the reason why his mom didn't give him the attention or love. And I also love the way that he tried to get that was by being a goody two shoes, as you said. And and I like the fact that the Chihuahua jumped up and got the treat. That is pretty cool because he is not giving himself the treat.
Much of it is all to do with healings. He also has another superpower in there. He has the ability to do hands-on healing, which is what a treat symbolizes in dreams. And any regular listeners to this show were probably shouting that at the radio set, like, mention the healing, mention the healing. There you go. So what else? For the last 2 weeks, we interpreted Ruby's dreams, among others, as a focus on gifts in dreams. And I spoke with her yesterday about the analysis because I had said I hadn't spoken to her about some pieces. And here's what I channeled, here's what I got. And she said it was spot on about her dad. And since I had her, I wanted to ask about a part of the dream that intrigued me that I didn't cover because I hadn't asked. And the tiny snippet of the dream is this, and this is from last week's show. Here's the dream. After this scene in the dream, something happens where the other actress and I are playing in front of a black camera on a tripod. Now, the intriguing part is that the camera is black in color. Black represents fears. So I asked her, because we were talking about her dad, if her career choice of actress freaked her dad out because Hollywood might ask her to appear nude on screen. And she said no, and with huge eyes said, but it freaks me out. And that she does think about it all the time. So there we get to see another level of detail from the same set of symbols in the dream.
So I love that. How did you get that appearing nude on the screen? Was the fear. I know black is about fear and camera is about, I don't know, since she's an actress, being in front of a camera. Where does the nude come from
Absolutely.
in that?
Well, there's a fear. So what's the fear? But it's also about the reproductive system. So we had that in the show last week too, because a camera is a reproductive device. So it was about gender. And that's where we mainly focused last week. But there's many levels in a dream. And so I was asking her, like, you're still working as an actress and so on? And she says, yes, she is. And she helps other people, coaches other people as well in the industry. And so it was like, okay, because that's unique to you, I was intrigued because the meaning for the camera can be a little bit different because the camera was up on a tripod as well. And she mentioned about other actresses and so on. So I just thought it was an interesting symbol to dive deeper in.
Yes, I love it. That's great. So we're going to do something a little different, Michael. We are going to go to Nicole because I'm really excited about what she's going to talk about. So welcome, Nicole. I'm so glad you're here. Let's hear what you have to say.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Michael. Today from the radio show Mailbag, I'd actually like to share a way of looking at dreams. Last week, we were reminded that dreams help us heal. So what happens when we have those dreams that reflect healing, and then we have those dreams that show us we've still got more work to do? First, this is totally normal. In fact, it's to be expected. Nothing has gone wrong. But it can be disheartening. I know, because I've had these kinds of dreams. So the way that I've been looking at it lately is that whenever a traumatic event happens to us, big T, little t, doesn't matter, a little knot is tied in our psyche. Or maybe it's a little bit bigger than a little knot. When we go through a healing process, like cutting the ties that bind, we can think of each of those dreams as untying one of those little knots, or one of those bigger knots, right? When we get to the end of the process, we've untied many of those knots. And there's probably still going to be some more to untie. So this is just a little encouragement to remember that healing is not a binary state, healed or not healed. It's a process, and every untied knot counts. Back to you, Sandy.
Wow, that connects perfectly with what we just talked about. I love how she put that together. Anyways, Michael, now we have two dreams from Kim, and I'm excited about these dreams. So this is what she has to say. I've been writing down my dreams for years. I am so happy to have found you. I am sending you two of my dreams that go together. I had the restaurant dream first, and then I had the train dream the following night. So let's begin. The first one is Restaurant Dream by Kim. I was at a restaurant near the entrance. There was some sort of chaos going on about a new phone app. A shadowy male figure to my right quickly fixes the phone app problem. Then he points to a painting on the wall. The painting was of sparkling, shimmering water and was moving in a wave-like manner. The painting expanded and became the entire wall. So now the entire wall was sparkling, shimmering water. The shadowy male figure was still standing near me on my right. He pointed to the shimmering water wall and quietly said to me, Unity. Alrighty, that's a short, fun dream there, Michael.
I love how you're so excited and say it's a fun dream all the time, mind you. The phone app is a program. So the shadowy figure helps fix a programming issue that you've got, as in how you've been conditioned. The conditioning is from the start of your life. Recognize the theme here. From entering the womb. That's what the building is about. Entering the building in your dream is about. I like the sparkling, shimmering water. That's a spiritual reference. And the way to it is through the heart, because the painting is on the wall. The wall is about the heart. Let your spiritual passion fill all your heart. Connect with the divine. That's what unity means. Be one with source. That's what you're meant to do. Well, I'm going to let you ask me, Sandy. What have we got?
Alrighty. I am so curious. Why do you say this? Well, first of all, what is the shadowy figure? And is he positive or negative? And he's male. So can you explain?
Yeah, it is strange. The shadowy figure is an angel. And this is from Kim. I call my dream guides shadow figures because in my dreams, they are in my peripheral vision over to the side, and I can't make out details such as facial features. They are fuzzy and ghost-like. Shadowy figures have showed up before in some of my other dreams, sometimes on horses riding with me, and they usually don't say anything. I see them as my spirit guides or angels. I love it when they show up in my dreams. And I didn't like that she had said shadowy figures. And I tuned into that, and my own team were like, no, that's positive. They're positive. So it's a bad choice of words on her part. And I could understand why she's saying shadowy because of how she sees them in her peripheral vision. But it's definitely not a word to ascribe to angels or guides at all.
That's very interesting. Yeah, because when you first read it and you see shadowy figures, it's like, ooh, something scary, something going to jump out. But
Yeah,
actually, these
but
are here to support you.
yeah, because they fix the problem. So, I mean, that's already a clue. It's like, hey, this shadowy person is not causing a problem. They're resolving a problem. Like, that doesn't fit. So, yeah, that's just a Kim special.
I love it. That's great. Alrighty, so here is her next dream, and this one's titled Train Dream. I was on a train. I was sitting near the conductor's cabin in the front seat on the left. Chris was the conductor. Chris is a manager at my work. The area was very spacious. I was sitting next to a window, and there was a large, flat industrial area outside with a gaudy corporate signs everywhere. A shadowy figure comes through the large sliding door on my right, grabbed my arm, and pulled me off the train. So now I am standing next to the train in a body of water. It seems like a large lake or river, but I did not sink. I was standing on top of the water, and so the shadowy figure was on my right. The shadowy figure was female and seemed like an angel. She bent over and cupped her hands in the water. She raised her water-filled hands to her face and softly said to me, Energy.
All right. And so she said that the shadowy figure was also standing on the top of the water. But Kim comments, the train clearly represents my work life, which is very unfulfilling and soul-sucking. Doing art to raise money for charities would be a more rewarding path for me. I'm sure of that. Well, the end of the dream says Kim has a hands-on healing gift. Even just saying the word energy, an angel saying the word energy in your dream would be enough. But it is a very strong reference because of how it's done in the dream, cupping the hands and so on, because that works through the hands. Any reference to the hands symbolizes that. And the lake means that Kim has not tapped into her gift. Even in the dream, she's only touching the surface. So she has to go deeper, using the gift, finding out more. I love how her angels and guides are so clear in her dreams. I mean, yeah, they're shadowy to her, but she knows who they are, identifies them, and is delighted with them. So she's to make a change in life. Get off the train she's on. Clearly, that's she's pulled off it by the angel, and it is interesting though, because Kim, and I didn't say this in the first part, but Kim is an artist, and we saw in the first dream art on a wall, and the art growing and growing and filling the entire wall. But art in dreams also represents following goals and ideals, and so it's a mix. Because of the way it happens in the dream, we can still take the normal meaning of the art, and it still fits in that she is an artist. But I would say it's not about you pursuing your art, although that very well could be it. It's you pursuing your passion. And if it is the art, then that's going to fit. So really very clear dreams, telling you, you couldn't be more explicit, like yanked off the train and now you're on the water. So the water being a spiritual thing, it's a lake. It's like you haven't tapped your spiritual reservoir at all. You're just on the surface. You need to go deeper there. So start exploring yourself spiritually, the spiritual aspects of you. Start using your gifts. That's definitely where you have to go.
Well, Michael, before we go too much further, as I read this, it reminded me of Harry Potter and the one where they meet the soul-sucking, what are those things called?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
And I had to laugh as I was reading it. And then I love this, the gaudy corporate signs everywhere. So it's like, she must be in corporate.
We went, so years ago, I was bringing my youngest daughter to all the Harry Potter films, and it was like, this is me being a great dad, because Harry Potter isn't a big thing for me. And when we got to that particular one with the ones that sucked the soul out of people, that was it.
The mentors.
The
That's what they
Tormentors,
were
is it?
called.
Dementors didn't go again. She didn't see the rest of the movies until she was a teenager.
That one was scary. And that's so funny because as you read this dream, you would think it's scary, but the underlining tone is not scary. But I love the fact that the angel grabbed her and pulled her right off the train and said, you're changing the way you do things. Or you need to, at least. That's so cool. Alrighty, we are going to finish with a question.
So here's the thing. We're at 23. Do we care if it's a short show?
Nope, I want to finish with a question.
Okay.
Alrighty, we are going to finish with a question. I'm a huge fan of the show, and I've been following Michael and Sandy for about 1.5 years now, and I am obsessed. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you're obsessed. I am too, obsessed. I love it as well. I have a general question. I've had a few dreams with symbols for depression. Checkout stand, the color olive, and toast. However, I am not depressed and I am not ready to check out of this life. Why would I have these symbols? And could they be about the person in the dream they are associated with instead of me? That's a very good question, Michael. I'll let you answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've done that on the show before, I believe. And it's exactly this. One lady sent in a dream, and in her dream, her brother in Alaska, I believe it was, had all these symbols of checkout stands and so on, and tidying up in order to leave. And it was about his depression, her brother's depression. And so it's very interesting. And so it specifically applied to the person in the dream that she was dreaming about. So that's absolutely true. Now, we say all the time that everything in a dream represents you. It's a slight bit of a lie in some people's cases, but it's such a minuscule number of people that are able to do this, where they have dreams about other people or dreams that reveal what's going on and the solution for other people. But that's a particular gift that they have that kind of jumps into the dream and overrides. But it is possible to have that. And the symbols for depression aren't checkout stand and olive and toast. They're way worse. Like checkout stand is like leaving life. Olive is a pun on needing to live, like please stay here. That's your higher self saying that. And then toast is another symbol for death. But depression in dreams is shown by, like, say, very dark clouds overhead, very dark colors, the lights off upstairs in a house, that kind of thing would be about depression. But yeah, dreams are going to show you what's important for you to do. And it was great. In the other person's case, she reached out and was able to help deal with it. Like, a lot of the time, people just need contact from someone else who understands the position. So if this was my dream, I would reach out to whoever is showing up. And I wouldn't just call and say, hey, are you depressed? That's not how you do these things. You lean into it and just find out what's going on in their lives. And most of the time, when you lean in properly and give a person the space, they're going to tell you what's going on and what's bothering them and so on. And even just having your ear is often enough to start the healing process on their side.
Right, because checkout stand is ready to check out, right? The color olive is telling you want to live. And then toast is, well, that's the end. It is not toasting wine and saying congratulations. It is a different toast.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let's go in your car. And I go, no, my car's toast. You already know my car's not driving.
Exactly. So those are not the best signs to see. But I love the fact that if you check in with someone and see what's going on and just listen to them, in a lot of ways, it will heal this, because the color olive says that they want to live.
You want to get them to that point. Dreams exaggerate. It's not always as bad as it shows in the dream. So that's our show for this week. What do we have coming up? We have a channeling course, our Dream Trackers Guide course. Our healing course is full. We're, even though we more than doubled the capacity. But we do have a channeling course that starts on February 2nd, and you can get details about that at dream-analysis.com/channel. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Have a great week. Bye.